Yo, so the main card for UFC 316 kicks off with the welterweights, right? Oh man, this is a great matchup. We have Vicente Lupe against Kevin Holland. Yo. So the silent assassin, Vicente Lupe, is 33, 5'11", 76-inch reach, coming off a win in his last fight, right? He is 16-6 in the UFC. Jeez. Right, last time out, he put Tembe Gabgumbe to sleep. Oh, in the first round, hit him with an anaconda. That was December 2024. Slick as fuck, right? He lost to Joaquin Buckley, which was a very weird. He just didn't look right in that fight. It was a very odd one. He beat Rafael dos Santos. Yeah, I mean, he's fought Jeff Neal, Bilal Muhammad, Michael Chiesa, Tyron Woodley, Randy Brown, Nico Price, Stephen Thompson. Right? So many legit cats. Yo. You know what I mean? Like, I had a war with Brian Barberina back in the day. Jalen Turner. Right? Some really good fights. Beat the former champ Leon he fought the former champ Leon Edwards. Yeah, I mean, he's fought so many great fighters, had so many great fights. Man, Vicente, he's got submissions, he's got strikes. He's a legit bad motherfucker. But the silent assassin on Saturday, he's not going up against anyone else silent, right? He's going up against big mouth trailblazer Kevin Holland. Yo, Holland's 32, 6'3", 81-inch reach. Also coming off a win in his last fight, right? He stopped Gunnar Nelson in London. He's 14-10 with one no contest. Fought an LFA, Bellator, came via the Contender Series. Yeah, so he fought in March 2025. And, that was right in the ship after, the loss to Roman Dalides was he got injured, But then he got choked by René de Ritter. But that was up at middleweight. And I think that's the big thing, right? I think at welterweight, Holland, man, he's legit, right? He could be a champion. But he does like to float around, right? Which is, I think, some of the issues at times. Because if commit to welterweight, focus on that. And I think he can really put on another big run. So I think, Kevin's good on the ground, right? He can knock you out, right? Like he stopped Joaquin Buckley. He's knocked out so many people, right? Souza, that was the craziest one, off his back. So he's a threat. And I think Kevin Holland gets it done because he's got the submissions and he can knock you out. Right now, you might say Vicente is possibly better on the ground, but I don't know because Holland is a Travis Luda black belt. You know what I mean? So, man, I think Kevin Holland gets it done. And I'm very up on this one. Right? So then we go to our bantamweights. Very interesting one we have here. Right? It is Mario Batista against Patchy Mitch. Patchy Mix, right? And what's great about this, right? So Patchy, he stepped in on short notice. Right? Because Batista's, I think it was Marlon Vera, that's a good fight, right? But Cheeto got injured, and it was just like, who's gonna come in? And man, I was stoked it was Patchy, right? But Batista, 7-fight winning streak. He's 31, 5'9", 69-inch reach. Woo! And Batista's been slowly putting together this really good fucking record. He's 9-2 in the UFC. Fought a couple of times in LFA, won those. You know what I mean? So he beat Jose Aldo last time out. Right, that was October 2024. Split decision. It was a win. Beat Ricky Simone. Unanimous decision. Damone Blackshear. Unanimous decision. Got an armbar off Benito Lopez. Rear naked choked Brian Kelleher. You know what I mean? So he's got skills. Right? Knocked out Miles Johns back in the day. Right? So he beat Guido Canetti, rear naked choke. So he's got submissions, right? He is very fucking good. He is that dude that people are sleeping on, that people aren't talking about when they're talking about next contender for the belt, right? That's Mario Batista right here. So what does that mean if you can beat him? Right? Now, Patchy Mitch, he is, right? He says no love, right? But, I mean, he's married to Tatiana Suarez. So I feel he's got some love, right? I feel Patchy's getting love, but that's the nickname, you know what I mean? And he's 31, 5'11", 70-inch reach. And he is also on a 7-fight win streak. Former Bellator champion. He trains with the champion, right? I mean, it's crazy. He's got submissions, right? His last fight as Bellator champion, he beat Magomed Magomedov. Split decision. Got it. Beat Sergio Pettis, who I think that people thought he would lose that fight, but he won that fight. Rear naked choke in the second round. Rafion Stotts, who Marab beat on Dana White looking for a fight to get that UFC contract. Stopped him with an incredible knee in the first round. Jump knee. Oh, boy. So, he's got submissions, right? The first time he beat Magomedov, he stopped him with a guillotine. Beat Koji Huagochi, who's now back in the UFC. Beat him. I think that was over in Japan, right? Beat James Gallagher with a guillotine. So he's got submissions. And he has fought, the top fighters outside the promotion, right? Outside the UFC. He's beaten those dudes. So he's mad skillful, right? And when Vera dropped out of this fight, it was like, who's going to step in? And after, what's his name? Fuck. Man, I cannot think of homie's name. But the young prospect, right, who was with Bellator and he signed with UFC. They were kind of, PFL were being weird with the contract for ages, and then they finally released him and he signed. And when that happened, I was like, yo, hope they get Patchy. Because Patchy had also voiced his dissatisfaction at the lack of fights. So it was just like, yo, I wonder if Patchy can get released. So, the thought was there, and then it happened, and that's awesome. Awesome. I don't think Patchy's going to be, too shook by the bright lights. He's cornered Tatiana a number of times. Now, that is definitely different, but also former champion, right? Fought in Japan on New Year's. So he's been in those big situations. And I think Patchy gets it done. I think he gets... Now, as I said, Mario Batista is legit. He's the dude no one's talking about. But I've watched Patchy fight and he's fucking good. So yeah, I'm going with Patchy Mitch for the win. Right? And our main card stops with the feature bout. Right, before we get into our title fights, and our featured bout is the middleweight clash between Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer. Ooh, now this was originally booked for Mexico, but Joe got ill. It was the water, right? Which takes so many people down. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it stopped the fight. Right? Now, Gastelum, he's 33, 5'9", 71 and a half inch reach. Coming off a win in his last fight. Right? 13-9 with 1 no contest. Former Ultimate Champion, Ultimate Fighter winner. Beat Daniel Rodriguez last time out. But there is a caveat. Because Gastelum missed weight. By a lot. Right? By a lot. And when you watch that fight, he was bigger. But, man, Gastelum, when he commits, he's very good. He's very fucking good. But sometimes there seems to be issues, whether it's weight, whether it's focus. There are things that have hindered Gastelum. Because if you remember, his fight with Israel Adesanya was close. So what would have happened if he had actually won that fight? Right? You know what I mean? So Gastelum he's a good fighter. He's going up against Joe Bodybag Pyfer, right? Who is also coming off a win in his last fight. Right now, he's 4-1 in the UFC. Right, came via the Contender Series. He fought twice, broke his arm the first time, so lost that fight, but then came back and won. And if I remember rightly, he was the only one to put on a great performance that night. Right? Dana invited Lorenzo Fertitta there, and he said, be like Joe Pyfer. You know what I mean? Because he was that impressed. So, yeah, Joe had, he came to the UFC and he was looking very fucking good. Very fucking good. Right? Getting some impressive wins. You know what I mean? And, but then he lost to Jack Hermansson. And that just wasn't his fight. Looked very good in the first round, but he slowed. And then he just didn't seem to have any answers. Wasn't able to change his game plan. But he came back. Stopped Marc-Andre Barriault in June last year. So, and he's done some, he does grappling matches. Beat Gerald Marshall in a grappling match. After stopping him, in a MMA fight. So Joe is legit. He has come back from that loss, right? So he's got that out the system. That was his first loss, you know? And I think out of the two, Joe is the one who is legitimately hungry. Now, don't get me wrong. Kelvin Gastelum would love to put together a run, get a crack at the belt. He would love that. But I think at this point in his career, there are so many distractions now. And I think he's probably got into some bad habits, some bad routines. Joe is at the start of things. Joe's mad hungry. He's 28. You know what I mean? Now, Kelvin, like, you think he's going to be older than he is. He's 33. You know what I mean? So he's still not old. But I think Joe is really fucking hungry. Really hungry. He's pissed about losing that fight. And he just wants to show the world who the fuck he is. So I'm taking Joe Pyfer to get the job done because of those outside influences on Gastelum. You know what I mean? Now, if Gastelum wins, don't get me wrong, it's not out of the realm of belief. But I'm going with body bags to get us done and lead us into our title fight, people. So yeah, that's the main card.